Let's actually do some Tai Chi. Allow your feet to touch in the center. Push your head top up to the highest point. Relax your tailbone, put your shoulders in the correct place, and then breathing, bring everything to the center. And then calibrate. Imagine your body as a geometric structure so you can feel all 4 points of the base connected to the ground. And the same thing, the 2 points on the back of the head and the 2 points in the front of the head, lining all that up. Take a deep breath and relax. We're going to start with some breathing. Actually, before we do the breathing, I want you to practice opening your back with the breathing. So we're going to do something where we actually cross the arms, turning them this way, right? Go as much as you can. And I want you to feel like you're closing the front and expanding the back. So close this, and then feel your skin, your shirt, jacket, whatever you're wearing, expanding against your back. Try to relax your back. Take a couple of deep breaths. And then the same thing, pushing your head top up. Make the neck straight. And then relax the tailbone and expanding. And then change, try the other side once you reach the limits for the breathing. And then just breathing. And feel not that we're squeezing with a lot of power, but that you're holding the front and allowing the back to expand. And it's easier because the arms are twisted in the front. So use your abs to do the same thing as if you're closing this first part here and then allowing this lower part to open and expand. This kind of breathing, you want to imagine that your diaphragm is actually pushing down through the torso and expanding against the kidneys, expanding against the top of the kidneys where the adrenal glands are. This is actually energizing and providing an internal massage to the kidneys as well. So the expansion should be downwards. It feels like it's going out. You should feel pressure against your shirt. Relax. Now when we do the breathing, take a nice comfortable stance. And the same thing, when you expand, when you reach out, feel your back and ribs expand. And then when you're exhaling, closing, as if you're compressing all the chi to the center. So make it a stretch. Reach all the way out to the sides, all the way up to the top, and then pressing down. You don't have to reach to the base this way because don't change the structure. So keep the correct. The neck is straight, reaching all the way up. And at the same time, using your whole body. So grip your feet. Feel the connection between your fingertips and your toes. The connection between your toes and your head top. The connection between your fingertips and your tailbone. Do 3 more. Make it a stretch. Reach all the way to the extent. The same thing with the breathing. On this one, we want to time the inhale, the exhale. And then after you're done with the breathing, bring the feet back together to the center. Relax your tailbone. Bring the hands together. and then recalibrate from the inside. One teacher told me, you must become your own physical therapist. So we have to know what is the best calibration, what is the best alignment, and the best structure for us to know if there's something out of alignment. So while we do these exercises, move your mind around the inside of your body. So when we say the head top is up at its highest point, imagine your whole body just as one piece, like one blade of grass, like one piece of bamboo, one palm tree that's going up, and so that you can feel the top of the inside of your head. And then relax your brow and become adjusted to having your brow relaxed, so that there's no question on the face and there's no worry in the brow. In fact, you can do something with your hands if you let your hands relax. If you find that your brow has tension in it, you can take the back of the hand, it's opposite of Lao Gong, and starting from one side, going across to the other, and then like you're wiping something away and getting rid of it, and then using the other hand for the same, starting from the temple, going across the front. Use some power in rubbing your forehead, and then wipe it away. And the same thing, we'll do one more on each side. So as if you're pressing, like kneading the dough, and then on the other side the same. Wipe across, keep the neck strong, straight, and then relax. By the way, that's one from Gene. So he would say to relax the brow, use the back of the hand, wipe the brow, something like this. So returning back to Tai Chi Harmony, the same thing. Get accustomed to relaxing your brow. Open the vision all the way so that the eyes can see 180 degrees or more around the front. Relax your nose and your nostrils. Open the sinuses on the inside. Connect the tongue to the upper palate. Keep the tongue as soft as possible. Relax the jaw. And then lining up the ears with the shoulder means pushing the upper part of the neck up and back while the chin is tucked. Shoulders roll back and relax. The chest is hollow. There's a small space in the armpit. We're using the center to support. The tailbone is relaxed. The lower back is open. The insides of the legs are also relaxed. There's a bend in the knee, so it's not straight leg. There's palm, this feeling of expansion in the ankles and in the feet. And you can activate the feet by turning the back of the feet in, gripping the toes with the tendons on the top of the foot. Don't use the muscles inside of the foot. Try to let those relax. Becoming aware of, while we're standing here, get more in touch with your feet and feel the difference between using the top of your foot to grip the ground and the bottom of your foot to squeeze the ground. Just like your hand, if you see your hand, on the back of it you have these lines, these tendons, right? And so we can use those to activate the hand. That's like in Bagua when we're doing something like this. This inner part is relaxed. But we can use that part as well when you want to take a hold of the mouse, right? You take the item in your hand. You can use the inside to squeeze. So while you're standing, feel your feet and try to differentiate between the bottom of your foot and the top of your foot. And activate the top and relax the bottom. So you see some people they like to wear running shoes, Nike, Air Max, 12 Plus, something like this. But I wear slippers because I use the bottom of my foot as my own cushion. So build into the bottom of your foot. Feel the muscles on the base. Allow the chi to activate them and expand that. And using the top to activate. I'm making this sort of feeling with my fingertips the same way by activating the tendons. If you can see the shadow, I don't know what's visible on the film in that way, but you get these lines. The same thing's happening on your foot. So working at that kind of detail. And then relax. We're going to warm up just a little bit. Take the head top, pushing up, reaching out to the side. Line everything up, breathing deep. Use the breath to increase the stretch. On your own, change, relax. Do the other side. Time it with your breathing. Make everything straight. Don't let the chin tilt too far up. Keep it tucked. Line up your nose and your thumb. Change on your own. We're going to do one more on each side. Breathing. Feel the stretch. And then on the other side, almost like in the morning when you wake up and you yawn, you stretch. Literally push your head top, push your shoulders, your elbows away from your center line. And then fill up with air. Relax. Next, I'm going to stand next to the wall because of the building that I live in. I don't want to be bouncing on my neighbor below. But we're going to do this same kind of drumming exercise, starting slow with power and just working up to sort of shaking out some of the tension in the body. So for Tai Chi power breathing, there's a long, slow inhale. And then on the exhale, we hit it with power. So breathing on the inhale. And on the exhale, for these ones, you don't even have to use any force. Almost like when we do the exercise where we let your hand drop. The same thing. Once the hands are here, just direct them. Feel how heavy the palms are. Breathing. And the tension is just for 1 second. It's right when we hit the top of the drum. So breathing. And you can gradually increase power. In the same way, when we're doing this, you want to prevent the power from traveling to the top of the head. So when we breathe, when you push, don't let the energy vibrate all the way. Keep the power as if you're looking, whether you're looking forward in whatever direction, so that the focus on the face and the eyes is going forward, whatever power we deliver going in the other direction. So you may see videos of birds. There's a lot of different kinds of birds, owls and different things, that if you hold them and you turn them, their head will always try to stay upright. The same thing when we're making this kind of power, that prevents the energy from vibrating up from the neck and the skull, and will keep you from getting a headache later. And so increase the speed with the breathing, fill up, and then exhale with the power. And so make these accurate. When you turn the palms flat, and then like as if they're on a straight track, or like an elevator line that goes straight down the front. And then the moment of impact is when the arms, you see my arms are right in front of my body. So the moment of impact is right when they reach the 99% straight point, and then you let everything relax again. So almost like a whip. We inhale to recoil the whip, and then once we lash the whip in the direction it's going in this case it's straight down, right at the moment of expansion, the whip hits the tension point and recoils. So the same thing, breathing, if you fill up, keep the hands right in front of the collarbones, and then just like an elevator shaft, straight down, press. By the way, this exercise is a little bit jarring. So when you practice these kind of exercises, if we practice holding the moon in the chest, something that has power, right? If we do it, you see my feet are locked, and at the end of the first, second, and third section before we close the form, we have this punch right and punch left. We can do this with the same power. When you do that kind of thing, make sure that you're checking the vibration in your joints and in your muscles so that you're not injuring yourself. When we do this with power, this kind of press, the inclination is to use a lot of force as opposed to allowing the motion, gravity, and the shape, the structure, do the force itself. So just protect your body. If your practice makes you worse, what good is it, right? We want to make sure that we can not have an injury and continue to improve. Injury is a big setback on several levels. So now the same thing, just resume a natural breathing, and the same thing for my neighbor below. I'm going to stand over this way, but we're going to bounce. So as if I'm hitting the point that's completely straightened, and then letting them relax to about the dantian, and just pressing. So feel your wrists. Let your hands relax. And as if you're pushing power to the wrists, breathing deep. Use your center. And then relax for a second. I like to think of this exercise, the nickname that one of the students used to call it, if you know Howard, number one, Howard M., he used to refer to it as the baby bouncer. And so if you imagine the shape that's sort of like an A-frame, and they put the toddler inside this little, I don't know, it's like a swing, and it's got room for their legs, and it's kind of there, and it's on springs, and it has the frame on the outside, and they can bounce. I want you to make your dantian, this point in the center, the baby that's in the bouncer. Not the hands, not the wrists, not the frame, but we want to get the center, the energy center in the middle, moving the dantian. So the wrists, the shoulders, the head top, they're all attached. Grip your feet. Try to prevent the vibration from going up to the head top, and bounce the center. Relax your shoulder blades. See if you can relax your hips. Keep the feet active. Relax your arms. As if you're settling, you have a box of your favorite snack or a bag of your favorite snack. When you shake it, all the bits go to the base, your favorite breakfast cereal, whatever it is. The same thing. Let everything relax. We can give it the form. That way we don't end up having some kind of injury. But you can do this kind of shaking if you understand the correct rotation of the body, several different formats, right? In this one, the idea is just using the vibration to open up some of the tension, some of the joints. Let's do a little bit of turning around the waist. So gripping the ground and just turning. By the way, if you have a shoulder, neck, back injury, only go to your own level. The same thing with anything that we do. Just like that shaking exercise we just did, if you feel pain or if you feel some type of soreness that doesn't feel good, I'll tell you actually on that exercise when I first started doing it, I learned it from TC very early. And when I did it, I had all this crazy pain in my shoulder blade. I thought, oh man, I tore something doing this exercise. And then I didn't say anything to him about it. And then the next weekend I had class with him, and it felt better by then. And I realized there was some tissue that was just super tense that had opened up with that one. So sometimes the soreness can be okay. Again, you have to be your own physical therapist. Don't injure yourself. Injury is a big setback. Grip the ground and then turning. Still looking forward. Keep the spine straight. You can turn the outer knee so that you don't twist it. Even if you keep the arms at a shallow circle, see if you can reach over the shoulder. If not, see if you can just reach to the collarbone. If you can, turn all the way over like you're reaching underneath your own chin, reaching under your neck, turning the arm all the way up and over. Breathe deep. And then for the next one, when you come back to the center, so on this one, remember to send energy downwards as we send energy upwards. There's a yin and yang. So the alternative is, if we don't send energy downwards, perhaps to one side or the other, we fly away. So we want to practice, if we're moving this kind of energy, you're swinging your whole body, you're moving your whole structure. It's just one piece. So we want to practice rooting so that we don't fly away. So pushing your energy into the ground as the power is going up. And then what's the last one? I'll face the other direction and we'll start kind of slow. Is turning this way and then this way. Breathe deep. Turn. Reach one up, the other one behind, up to the side. If you get it, if you have it, just do the rhythm. Remember to breathe. So this is, this one, by the way, what we're doing right here is one of the core movements for something. If nobody has questions, if we're not going to work on something specific, we may do something from the very, very first section, practicing the 8 movements for beginners. We may work on a question if one of you has a question. If not, this thing that we're doing right here is sort of the rough blocking for cloud hands. So we're turning to one side, one hand is going up and the other hand is going under. But now we're just making it, keep your neck straight, your chin is tucked. Look 180, look from one side to the other. Keep your tailbone relaxed, breathe deep. So this, just like when we have cloud hands, when this hand goes up, this other hand comes under to support. The most basic for cloud hands is turning this way and this way. In fact, let's do a little bit more stretching before we continue with Tai Chi. So gripping one foot or the other, doesn't matter. Push your tailbone back and away. Use your hand on the standing leg to support. Reach forward. Breathe deep. Use your abs, your abdominal muscles, your center to support. Relax your back. Breathing deep. Either stretch your chin forward or tuck it. Either way. Remember to breathe, stretch on your own, and when you're ready, grip the ground, shift the weight forwards, stand up straight. Take a deep breath, let the energy change. I don't know if you can see, even just bending that much, I don't know, everyone in the gallery, the face has red face, so take a breath for a second, let the energy go back. And then the same thing on the other side, gripping the ground. You can use the wall, chair, bench for balance, anything that you like. Breathing, reach forward, stretch your toes, straighten out your back. Either tuck your chin or push it forward. Either way, remember to breathe. And this is a stretch, so push yourself a little bit further. A little bit of soreness is okay. When you're ready, grip the ground, breathing deep, shift forward. And then change. We're going to do one more of those on each side, and I want you to practice the hitting. So this is, by the way, in Tai Chi, when we practice a Tai Chi fist, at the end of every first section we have Ban Lan Shui, and in the long form that repeats 3 times. The first one, we can leave a closed one, but Lan and Shui, when we do this kind of punch, the punch in Tai Chi is always hollow, right? So there's a space in the center of it. The same way when we do this drumming exercise, there's only this moment of impact. The same thing with the hollow fist is if there's an impact, it's only crunching at the moment where it impacts. And so this is to protect the expensive equipment, right? When engineers design robots, they put all the expensive part on the part that isn't grabbing. And so the same way, Tai Chi and Bagua have a lot of use of the palm. This palm is fleshy and fatty, and it doesn't have as much delicate equipment as the back. So we don't really want to spend as much time punching. We want to use the palm as much as we can. But anyway, this hollow punch, when we're practicing the Tai Chi, the exercise for hitting, you don't have to use the hollow punch, but you can use it to practice. You can use it to feel. So I want you to practice the tapping exercise, grip the ground, push your tailbone back and away, and see if you can use the hollow fist. Tap the back of the leg. Remember to stretch. Breathing deep, push your chin. Stretch just a little bit more. And imagine this is the opposite of guitar tuning. You want to use the plucking, the tapping to release the tension as opposed to increasing it. Step forward, breathing deep. On your own, on the other side, take a deep breath first. Allow the blood to balance back through the body, the energy to resume. Grip the ground, push the tailbone back and away, standing, tapping with the back of the, whether you use the back of the fist, the thumb side, see if you can feel the rebound in. then when you're ready, grip the ground, push forward, breathe deep, standing up straight. I think in the email I saw a request for doing block, punch, kick. Before we do something like that, or we practice whatever other crazy ideas I have, does anyone have questions, thoughts, ideas, comments, something that they want to work on? Because what we were working on, the needle to the bottom of the C, Santon Bay. Right after that is a block punch kick, and I feel like that would be a good continuation. And that block punch kick appears a number of times in the second and third section. So, questions, thoughts, ideas? Let's actually do that. Last week, over the weekend, we were working on needle at the bottom of the C. And then the next one, Santon Bay. This is a square step, stepping forward, pressing. By the way, we talked about the idea of Santon Bay. One of the translations of this is fan through back. So this idea, like, as if your arms from one end to the other are just one piece, as if it's one. I use the term pool noodle because that's about the length of my arms, the size of a pool noodle. So imagine one, whether you imagine it's a piece of white waxwood or steel or a foam piece that goes from one side to the other. The idea for fan through back is this: as one side is pushing, the other side is pulling. The movement, the energy is going all the way through the back and coming back out the other side. This phenomena, this principle, Tai Chi idea of Santon Bay, is actually another Tai Chi principle. So the ones we talk about in Tai Chi Harmony are very basic, but this one, when we do Santon Bay, this concept of the hands is also in every posture. So when we start and we have grasped the sparrow's tail, see how my other hand isn't moving? There's no Santon Bay. So this hand has to move. If I have a wire and I turn one end, the other end of it will have motion. So the same thing, just like when we do silk reeling or this type of thing, when one end is moving, the other end is also working. So Santon Bay is like a second level, like second part of the form idea. We can experiment with it and learn more about it, but it's in every posture. We just have one particular posture that by this time we should have been understanding what Santon Bay is. And then when we turn for block, punch, kick, this turning is I'm facing this way. So I'm lifting my heel and I'm turning my foot as much as I can with my knee, because I want to end up facing the other direction. So there's a point where my square actually turns into the corner. So if I have a square step this way, right? If I use the corner of my rug and I turn this foot 90 degrees or more, and then when I go to step here, I can have this into a Bagua type step. Let's say if I face this direction and I use this square, I can turn this way. And then when I step here, this X step uses the same square shape that we use when we use the square in this direction. We actually practice this as perhaps in the fourth part of the movement. After the first ward off, when we do rollback, if we pause right in the middle, this movement here, right? If we take the feet and we go 45, and then we make the pivot points here, and we turn to 45, right? We have this shape. And so this is a very stable shape. It uses the same square principle that we have in the Tai Chi. It's considered Bagua. In Shaolin, it's considered X stance or dragon stance. They have something you can stand to meditate like this. It's a very powerful one, right? But in the Tai Chi, we practice after the ward off in this style, in TC's Yang Classic. We turn 90 degrees. And then once that foot is planted, this other foot turns 90 degrees. So this kind of turning, very important to practice accurately. So when we look to see people teaching Tai Chi, they're 60, 70, 80, 100 years old, and they're still able to do Tai Chi. It's because they're turning. They're protecting the knees, the ankles, all of the joints correctly. So maybe it seems like some type of minutia to turn 90 degrees, but once you have that kind of body control, you don't lose it. You won't forget the kind of alignment that we're looking for. So back to the Tai Chi. If we're pressing and we turn, just turning the foot as much as we can, I can actually reach almost 180. And then I line up my hips and I bring everything forward. Block, punch, kick, by the way, is very similar to holding the moon in the chest. In the first section, after brushing and press, if I shift back, I open this foot, and then when I step forward, I have a block, a punch, and a kick. In this one, we're stepping to a square stance. And the other one, we're turning 180, block, punch, kick. By the way, this shui, this one here, has one of those hollow fists before we do Di Beauvoir. And the same thing, Di Beauvoir has it as well. Back to the hollow fist question just for 1 second. Does anyone know why the fist in Ban Lan Shui can be closed and the other fist in Shui is open? No takers.
In the first one, you're really just twisting to release the grip?
Yeah, because we're not hitting anything with it. Somebody's grabbing it, so we want to turn it into, technically, if you could turn it into a spear fist, but your other palm is open. So in Tai Chi, sometimes we have a balance, but we want this one to be like the pry bar, and this other one to be the cover. So because we're not striking anything, we don't need to leave any room for impact on the joints. We're just using it like the tip of a piece of metal. And the other one, we're punching something, right? We have a hit. So we want to protect our own equipment by leaving a little bit of space, right? So TC would say if you put your index finger in there, and then now do this. You see my thumb? As if my thumb is holding the other fingers back. The other fingers want to explode, right? So there's power. It's not just a hollow fist, but it's as if the power is emanating outwards from the hollow fist the whole time. So it's maybe a slightly weird looking fist, but you should feel like if your thumb is constraining the fingers, that there's a power, and that kind of hit can do the same kind of damage, protect your thing, and just like a tennis ball or a racket ball, when it's hollow, this kind of bouncing. Anyone ever here been hit by a dodgeball really hard when they were in school? It can be painful. So this is like a compressed one of those, right? Yes, question.
It seems like the advantage of a closed fist is that when you're punching, you get that flat part of your fist here, but when it's hollow, you're more likely to hit with the knuckles unless you really have your wrist bent.
Anyone here know why we would use a fist versus a palm when striking an opponent, and or the answer to where a fist goes to where a punch goes? One goes to hard tissue and the other goes to soft tissue, right? You don't want to punch a soft tissue, right? For anybody that's got a gut, you can punch all day, it doesn't hurt. But I tell you, if somebody, especially if they have a lot of skin, instead of trying to punch them, slapping, right? If you slap that, you'll definitely get their attention. So the fist, when we do this holding the moon in the chest, this one is ending up somewhere on the face. That's why we don't need a lot of power, because we're hitting a hard tissue here, right? And we're using the back of the fist, which has all this delicate wiring and tendons and blood vessels and stuff very exposed back there. So we don't need that kind of power. It can be very, very soft. Just like we said before, if you hit somebody with that in the face, will break anybody's nose. There's enough power there to snap. And so the same thing with the orbital of the eye, anywhere along this central line. If you hit them in the third eye, there's a fissure in the bone and the skull there. The mouth, the teeth, those are all going to go out if you hit somebody's teeth, the throat. Just doing this. Anyone know this trick? If you take your your hands, just like we did in the beginning of class, and you roll them this way, right? And this is a trick, like, I don't know, maybe I'm a terrible person, but when I was a kid, we would play this trick on kids at school. We'd say, okay, we're going to do a strength test. And while the person's standing like this, you take their hands and you say, okay, I'm going to pull this way, and I want you to sort of pull towards yourself, right? Aaron knows this one. He's already laughing. And so then they get pulling, and then you let go, and they hit themselves in the face, right? Terrible joke, whatever, okay. So this idea, we don't need a lot of force, right? This turning, this is why Tai Chi, there was a Zen master, and when he was old, he said, I'm like a pussycat. He said, but when I was young, I was like a tiger. Young martial artists feel like they want to crush somebody's skull. But at this stage, we're practicing Tai Chi. What is the minimal amount of damage that I can do? What's the minimal amount of power? Maybe I just need to get somebody's attention, and I can stop right before the power even needs to be delivered. I've saved my equipment, I've saved their equipment, and everybody has the right intention and idea at that point, and we have self-defense. So we don't really actually want to use the power. Hitting with this is fine. We can do that if we need to when the situation calls for it. Let's continue. We were practicing fan through back. And then turning for block, punch, kick. So I'm turning this foot, lifting the heel. I still have weight on it, and I can turn it while it's weighted. And then once I get far enough, this other hand combination can be anything that you like. Personally, I like to cover and bring these two at the same time up through the center. But remember, we're practicing Tai Chi, so there's different styles. Some people imagining after fan through back, turning this half circle. So watch my foot and my hand going at the same time. And then gripping the ground. And then completing, after the half circle completes, I bring the Taiji loop up. And then step square. Again, this is where we want to have control of our self so that we can control the step, stepping down. And then we step square, the other foot going forward for this next punch. Let's practice that a few times. I'll practice 3 times going this way, turning, and then 3 times the other way, turning. So this is also good for practicing your turn. So after we've done needle at the bottom of the seat, I'm going directly west. This hand is in front. I step square, fan through back. And now when I turn, avoid, make contact, advance. Step square. Keep your center line moving along the axis steadily. Punch. And then still vertical, moving your center line vertically, just as steadily. Like the whole thing is on a motion control steady cam. Right? So this center line moving backwards and forwards, up and down at the same pace. Let's go again. Fan through back. Breathing. Turn. Grip the foot. Breathe. Block. Punch. Kick. Square step. Lan. Open. Shui. Hollow fist. Head top up. Sinking at the same speed it was traveling horizontally. One more time. Fan through back. Block. Punch. Kick. Control the step. Grip the ground. Open. Steady movement straight through to the punch. Steady movement straight down to deep voix. Change step. Go back. Press all that stuff. Let's change direction so you can see a different angle. If I'm going in this direction, I'm doing the same side, I'm just simply switching direction. In this one, my right hand is on top, my left hand is pressing forward. I'm going west. In this one, the same thing. My right hand is on top, my left hand is going forward. Now on this way, you can see my front when I turn. So practice them on the other side. Turning, block, punch, kick, control, step forward, lan, shui, changing. Oh, Sanpon Bay, pressing forward. By the way, the pause or the break here is to show that we have control. One of the reasons that we practice X-stepping every week, we can, in the beginning, can practice every day, is so that we have the power to balance and move without losing the grip, the center, and that we can make power or changes we need on that one leg and then get back to the center. So if we need to go here and make power out to the side without losing the balance, that's okay, center. And then stepping back to the corner grip. And the same idea, whatever we do, we should be able to make power and keep the balance, right? So when we're practicing, when we turn, we should be able to make power, kick, block, do whatever we like, and not lose balance, right? I'm actually falling over there. But this is the idea, is for the balance, whether we're kicking, and even if we have to kick high, that we have that one leg. And it's balance, strength and balance that's required to do it, right, to repeat. And so we can use the very basic X-stepping. Anyway, turning, we have that one leg as our basis, block, punch, kick. Don't just fall into the step, right? You see people that don't have the leg strength and they don't have the balance. That's good, right? Yes. Aaron, good. Mark, that's good too. So what Mark did is after his block, punch, kick is literally as if it's on a trajectory going to a spot. You can practice that way. You can also, if you do that, when you step there, for your next one, you're going to move this rear foot slightly sooner to catch up to the square. Does that make sense? Or, after you kick, the trajectory may want to go straight, but after the kick, you just set it down vertically, because that's where your square is. Either way, the one that's Mark's doing, yeah, question, go ahead.
In bringing the leg forward, going into the Banham tray, is it a circle or just straight?
Okay, this is a good question. And by the way, this question sort of goes into some of the most basic, like when we work on grasp the sparrow's tail and ward off, right? Do you see what I just did there? There's a straight step. If I grasp, I'm doing a mirror, by the way, and then I step straight. Or I can do grasp the sparrow's tail, bring my foot in, and then step straight and ward off. Anyone know why we would use one versus the other? Because there's an answer. The first one is a yoga. The straight step is a yoga. Nobody's fighting that way, right? If you get into a fight with martial artists and they stand like this, you can just go right to the center, and it's no matter how good they are, they can't close that fast enough. You should face an opponent from your side, from the side gate. So the idea is the yoga, if we do grasp the sparrow's tail and I step into my square, that's causing me to strengthen my whole quad, my whole hip area, right? The tendons in the corners of the hip and the way that they attach are strengthened in a way I can't, there's some other practice, I haven't seen it. But the idea is, this is kind of goofy, square step, keep all this as level as you can, and then have the balance as well, step square, without shifting, right? Step square. Don't let this hip go past the outside of your box, your square box, right? So without shifting, and then do the square step. That's a hard yoga. It's a difficult walk. It looks good. Maybe Aaron, make sure the feet, right? It's this challenge. But then also, what's easier, and so this is TC also said this, he said younger people a lot of times are more capable of doing the square step, and older people, because they have a fear of falling over, will retract that leg to get to the center. So whether it was meant to sort of scare the older folks into working a little bit harder or whatever, or if you like martial arts, if you like Kung Fu, right, we're all practicing Kung Fu, right, is when we do the grasp the sparrow stuff, you can close that There's no problem. It's what your intention is when you're practicing. You should know both ways. The square step is the hardest. It's the yoga, right? And it's the way that will condition your body to make it. Even here, by the way, my foot isn't straight. I've opened it, and then I'm going to straighten it back out. That's a workout. For Gong Fu, for martial art, you can practice Tai Chi like this. And by the way, this is a yin-yang step. So I don't know if you can see, one foot's flat, the other one is up. And Master Yun refers to this one as ravens are cold in the winter. Ravens standing in the snow, right? Because they keep trying to keep one foot off the ground. TC never had a name for it, but he would say you can bring them together. And then when you step to the square, you ward off. And then on the other side, grasp the sparrow's tail. I could just step square, ward off. Or I can bring that together and then step square to ward off. The other reason to not step square, and square stepping is okay, by the way. If we do something like Shingi, we can use a straight step or a square step. The other reason is we like to hook the opponent's leg. So in the extended version of the first section, we have brush knee press. And this shape forms this nice circular, like coming from one side, step, and then from the other side. So I'm stepping behind my opponent, something like this. If the opponent's there and they have their base, I want to step inside their base to a point that when I move my knee, it breaks their structure, right? So whether you go inside or outside the leg, you want to use the knee like a pry bar, right? Which means you want to step in as deep as you can to get as much pry that way you still have your structure. Block, punch, kick, application. How many have ever been surprised by something or someone is behind you? You turn around and there's something there. I refer to this especially in the second section after we do punch to groin or punch to dantian, however you choose to interpret it, as putting on the space helmet. So this is coming from the Bagua. The more advanced Bagua they have a movement called removing helmet, where we're pressing up and over this way. So the same idea is, if there's something behind me, I don't necessarily want to, it may be moving, I want to protect myself. So as I turn to see the thing that's behind me when I face this direction, right, if I have this, when I turn, my hands, already my elbow, my hand, and then this other hand is blocking. So if there's somebody this way and they have their fists out and I'm here, when I turn, this is just like a drape or a cover. It's going to just go over, blanket, whatever, a towel. Is after I do senton bei, this hand, just flop it. You can make it relaxed. Because whatever they have there, we want the weight of the gravity. Remember how heavy your arm is. And then this other hand and foot, because the dantian drives them coming up from the center to punch, power coming out. And again, this spinning movement can deliver quite a bit of power. Questions, thoughts, comments? We have about 10 minutes left. Let's see how much of the third section we can get through in the next 9 minutes. I can go a little bit late. Let's start just facing north from Tai Chi Harmony, right from the center. Usually the first section I start off to the side. Today, because we're starting transition, I'm in the center, facing north from Tai Chi Harmony in the same way. Take a deep breath and calibrate, line everything up. Opening shoulder width wide. And after you settle into position, right hand, left hand, return tighter to mountain. Bring the feet together, T-step or hook step, as far as you can, returning south. Expand the square, palm press to the center. Breathe deep to roll back. Join the palms, pressing south. Breathing to push. Look left, glance right. Double press. horizontal, split hands, hook. This is turn back. Oh wait, sorry, we're in the third section. Sorry, I forgot where we were. Side whip, we're facing east, and this is wild horse parting its mane. Grip the ground. If you bring the feet to the center, go back to the square. Grip, looking forward, dip the shoulder, expand, ward off. One more, grip, breathing. Yama Fazen, wild horse shaking its mane. Go back to roll back. Turn the feet as accurately as you can. Use the tops, the tendons. Breathing, relax the soles of your feet. Push. Press. Look left. Glance right. Schwung on. Double press. Horizontal. Split hands. The owl show is hook. This is a side whip. We're parallel to north, south, east, west, facing the north. This is Yuyon Chuan So. Four corners. J Lady, number one. Press. Looking first. Keep your spine upright. Grip the ground. Open. Scoop under. Align the feet. Press. Breathing deep. Scooping to wind up. Under. Third corner. Press. Spine is straight. Looking. Unwind the arm. Scoop under. Turn to press. Breathing deep. We're facing east. Press down. Right into Ji. Long breathing. An. So Gu. Yo. Pan. Schwang. An. Horizontal. Split hands. The owl show is hook. This is the first corner whip. I'm turning all the way to my squares west, and this is the first snake creeping down. When we come back facing west, this is Jinji Duli, and opening, standing on the right foot. Also Jinji Duli. Right into repulse the monkey, scoop, step back, same hand, same foot. Breathing. Right side, stepping back. Left side, press to the center. Breathing. Number three. Press. Shir Fei, which is diagonal flying. San Pong Bei, both arms doing something. Left hand, right foot. Heidi Zhang. This is fan through back. Block, punch, kick, grip the ground, breathe deep, lan. Shui, head top up, chin is tucked, di bu hua. Shen bu li, breathe. Press to the center. Have the same feeling of expansion in your back, kidneys, shoulders as when we started. Double press, double push, schwang on. Split, hook. This is a parallel whip, east-west. This is cloud hands in the third section. Turn and press, breathing. Press and step. Grip the ground. Turn, press. Turn, press, step. Breathing. One more on each side. Did we do three? I'm not counting. Press and step. I'm also kind of worried about where the camera used to be. Hook. Corner whip. In the third section, continue turning. This is snake flashing its tongue. And now when we turn, this is pull right side. Kick right side. Cross kick. Brush. Step square. Punch down. Half fold knees. change step, breathe deep, roll back, press forward, push, look left, glance right, double press, pushing twice. Mind the box, keep your hands inside the box. Horizontal split, hook, corner whip, turning to the southwest, facing west. This is the second snake creeping down, and when we turn back to the west, step up to 7 stars. Turning 90 degrees to the north, this is Xuan San Hua Hu. And now turning 180, this is called Bai Lian. Stepping 15 degrees, Long Dong Circle is open the bow to shoot tighter, facing due west, block, punch, kick, square step, long breathing, focus power to the center. Rufeng, so be as if an enclosure, press, open, return tiger to mountain, block, punch right, punch left, bring the left side back to the center. Take a deep breath. Put your mind into the center. That's also our closing. It is 1 minute till, so let's do just a little bit of breathing. While you're standing here, imagine all the energy, all of the ideas, either expanding to the outer edges, the outer perimeter of your body as if you're a balloon, or going to the center as if your body is solid, one piece, and everything's going to the center. Either way, full expansion or everything going to the center. It's the same. Breathing deep. In Chinese medicine, acupuncture theory, there's some schools that refer to there's 3 brains inside the body. The lower one, the dantian, is considered like a black body camera. It doesn't see, there's no light, but it senses all the movement. It senses all the motion. In fact, that's sometimes when they say trust your gut, there's something that your body can sense the energy out there without seeing it. So put your mind into the center. Take a second to smile to this brain. The shape looks like almost like some type of pasta, the same way the brain has a similar shape as the brain. And then moving your consciousness up into the center. The Chinese theory is that the idea of the Xing, the Yi, the willpower, is your thoughts, is seated in your heart in Chinese medicine. In fact, Master Su says all sickness, injury, and illness come out from the heart. Some people don't like this teaching. They say, well, that means I had something wrong with me if I had an injury. You can take it for what it's worth. I'm simply telling you what her teaching is. But in Chinese medicine, this second brain is associated with sound vibration. It also does not receive light, but the sound vibration that we hear affects this one. That's why we have a pericardium. It's a sac on the outside that acts as a force field. So when people say negative things to us, that can bounce off of it. So take a second to smile to your heart and your pericardium, breathing deep into the center. That one's associated with sound and vibration. And then moving your consciousness up one more time to the center of the brain. This brain is associated with light vibration. This is what we associate with vision and seeing and experiencing all different types of sunlight, moonlight, stars, this type of thing. So take a second smiling to your brain for processing all the light that comes in. Take one long last deep breath. And if you have questions, please send them. Thank you. Have a good night.